It was supposed to be just another late-night flight, but somewhere above the clouds, an unexpected confrontation turned a quiet journey into one of the music industry's most whispered about feuds. What really happened inside that private jet, and why has no one dared to speak about it publicly, until now? At the time, Rihanna was untouchable, dominating charts, setting trends, and commanding stages across the globe. But with power comes politics, and behind the scenes, the competition for influence in the music world was fiercer than ever. This flight wasn't just travel, it was a gathering of egos. The jet was sleek, spotless, and dripping in luxury. As guests boarded, smiles masked the underlying tension. No one could have guessed that within hours, every person on board would be part of a story they could never publicly admit to. From the moment they took off, something felt off. The laughter seemed forced, conversations shallow. In the air, miles from the ground, small annoyances have a way of becoming impossible to ignore. Somewhere in the middle of the flight, whispers turned into sharp exchanges. Words were carefully chosen, but the tone left no doubt. This was more than just a disagreement, this was personal. Then came the spark that lit the fire. A phone, expensive, personal, and full of private messages, was suddenly missing. In a space that small, everyone knew it had to be on board, but where? Hours later, snippets of a private conversation surfaced. The voices weren't crystal clear, but the hints were undeniable: accusations, betrayal, and a long history neither side wanted public. The captain made an unusual decision: they would land early. Officially, it was due to technical checks. Unofficially, some say it was to separate two people before things escalated further. By the next morning, cryptic posts started appearing online. A song lyric here, a vague emoji there, enough for fans to speculate endlessly, but never enough for a clear answer. In the music industry, silence can speak louder than words. Whispers spread through recording studios and backstage corridors, the kind of whispers that could freeze collaborations before they ever began. Soon, the record label stepped in. Meetings were held, contracts reviewed. Not out of curiosity, but to make sure this feud wouldn't damage the brand, or worse, leak to the public. Publicists crafted statements that said everything and nothing at once. Behind closed doors, the goal wasn't truth, it was control. Friends, collaborators, and even mutual stylists were quietly choosing sides. Invitations stopped arriving. Phone calls went unanswered. The divide was growing. Despite the tension, not a single major outlet ran the story. Whether it was fear of losing access, or a call from someone powerful, the media stayed silent. There was one attempt to mend things: a quiet letter slipped under a hotel room door. But in a feud this deep, sometimes sorry is too small a word. Endorsement deals quietly vanished. Planned collaborations were shelved. Money wasn't just being lost, opportunities were disappearing. Beneath the glamour and fame, there's still a human heart. And for both women, the emotional weight of that night was heavier than anyone outside their inner circles could imagine. Months later, they crossed paths at a high-profile event. Cameras flashed, but not once did their eyes meet. To the public, it was business as usual, but to those who knew, it was the loudest silence of all. A few mutual friends tried to bridge the gap, but trust, once broken, is the hardest thing to rebuild. And sometimes, it never truly comes back. There was a dinner, private, quiet, and away from the press. For a brief moment, it seemed like the frost might melt, but the conversation ended before dessert. To this day, no one outside that plane truly knows what was said. The phone was eventually returned, but the damage? That stayed. Industry insiders believe the feud reshaped alliances and even shifted the direction of certain projects. In music, personal conflicts often echo far beyond the stage. Maybe this was never about a single night. Maybe it was the breaking point of something that had been building for years. Sometimes, the smallest spark can burn the brightest bridge. But here's the thing, this wasn't the last time they crossed paths. In our next episode, we'll reveal the surprising reunion that shocked fans and reignited rumors. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us for the truth they didn't want you to hear.